I talked to Mr. Burrs earlier today.
You might want to do roll call. Do
We need to do
No, we don't do that.
Okay, all right.
If you told me I had to, I believe you.
I said maybe.
Budget.
Yeah, okay.
But I did talk to Mr. Burrs earlier today, and he did say that he thinks we only need an hour today, but. I'm
See how it goes.
Yeah.
I'll pass out the first item, the debt. It's two-sided, save on trees.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
No. Give one to John.
And one behind you.
Okay, so the only,
Another one, John?
yeah, sure,
Can you make it smaller, Jim?
I'll try.
Bring your glasses, like I do.
I don't want over.
I got my glasses and it still isn't open that much.
So the left column will explain the type of debt, and the far right column is the 2022 portion of that debt. So we'll just start at the top. Bonded indebtedness, the Highland Road improvements, especially assessed back in 2003. So no new debt there. Total debt service 91.8. North Freeway Drive, another special assessment back in 2006. Total debt service 44,666. And then we have the right in, right out at Golden Links. Down below, you'll see under notes, about halfway down, there's currently a note out standing at 575. In 2022, we'll convert that to a bond. Right now, I'm just using 100% of the 570 plus the interest, 575 plus the interest so far. But once the monument sign is done and all costs are complete on that, we can then roll all costs together, determine by property owner their share if they want to pay cash up front. The determining factor would be on borrowing, who decides to pay cash or not, how much we need to borrow going forward. So that all happen next year.
So that's why the right column there is the full amount?
Yeah, that would be.
You know, that's not actually what we're gonna pay,
Well, no, that's
or
assuming.
it's gonna be wiped out by a bond.
By a bond, yeah. That's assuming everybody decides to bond it out and get specially assessed instead of paying cash up front. And then we have a bond from 2010, Shepherd / South Freeway Drive. 30% of that was specially assessed. The rest was a general obligation bond by the city. We refunded that in 2020, saving interest in that refunding. So those debt service payments are there. Then we have the 2018 various purpose bonds for the road program that was approved by the residents. Debt service payments there. Fire truck, which we've refunded already to save some interest on that one. We have those debt payments, and then we have the 800 megahertz radios that we borrowed last year in 2020 with that refunding of the fire truck. We'll put those two together. Our notes, like I mentioned, right now we have notes outstanding for the right in, right out Golden Links project. In the other category is OPWC and a state infrastructure bank loan. You see what those are for. A small interest on the infrastructure bank, and the rest is interest free. And then on the other side of the page, you have our leases. In 2021, we have 2 leases expiring. The fire department has a fire ambulance lease expiring. Police, a 10-year, for the 10 police cruisers, that's expiring this year. Service department has a 3-year lease expiring next year for hot box, stand-on mowers and vehicle lifts, and 2 Dodge 3500s with equipment. They have a 5-year lease, which is just beginning. We don't even have the trucks yet.
No, not yet.
How close are they to?
They're hoping to have them here by the end of November.
They're in Ohio, right?
Yeah, they're in Ohio, the trucks are in Ohio, they're just being put together now.
Okay,
750s, right?
Yeah, 270.
2 750s, yeah. So we'll start that payment next year. It's a 5-year lease.
Are these the trucks that we bought that are interchangeable and can have like different beds and all that?
Yeah.
Hook lift.
Okay.
What do they call it?
Hook lift.
Okay.
They drop the bed, versatility.
And then in 2017, the service department bought a Great All excavator. It's a 12-year lease, and you see that debt service there.
I have a question,
Mhm.
Mr. Norris. In the beginning, at the top of that, when you stated about the fire department ambulance,
Yes.
I thought I heard you say that ends in 2022, or you
No,
said
no.
next year.
2021.
Okay, I
Yeah.
just want to make sure that's correct.
Right.
With the lease over, do we now own them?
Yes.
Or we do?
No, these are lease to buys, so we will own all these pieces of equipment under the lease. Yeah, once we make the final payment. Good question.
And just to be clear too, those vehicles, we're gonna swap out some of the older ones. The chief's car, probably the building department, cars are getting up there in mileage, so we're gonna move those into those areas and get the older cars out, so we don't have more repairs on the older vehicles. Not all of them.
You're just reallocating them, or are you gonna put them up for auction?
We're gonna reallocate some of those vehicles, and the older vehicles will put them auction.
Okay.
So these 10 police cruisers
Mm-hmm.
they are of 2017 vintage?
Yes.
Okay, so these aren't the old vehicles you're talking about. These are
No, those.
5-year-old
Referring to
vehicles.
like the building department vehicles, the chief's car, what am I missing, what else do we have?
Service, you guys have one or two?
Yeah, there's one for service when they run vehicles back and forth. So it's not gonna be all, it'll probably be 5 of them.
Right.
TVs are, I think, are a touch younger, but they're beat.
Okay, any other questions on the debt?
So we'll be paying next, in 2022, 1.4 million in principal and 400,000 in interest for all of our debts, leases, et cetera.
I don't like to round up that high.
That's under.
387, 753 in interest? Is that where you were rounding
No,
up
I'm
to
looking-
400?
Oh, it says right here,
I see.
400,224.
Oh, you're on the other side. You're including the leases,
That's
okay.
leases.
No, it's leases and total bonds, notes, and
Yeah.
other leases. Total,
Okay.
total.
Yeah, you're right, 400.
And then for the assessment that we do for the roads, what's our income?
Pardon me?
What's the income that we get from the residents for the taxes for the roads?
1.6 million, I think, estimated.
Can you just get that to us?
Yeah, that'll be at the next meeting. I'll have that for you.
Okay.
Any other questions on the debt?
So we're only looking to pick up 2 new decks.
Well, one new debt, really. We're converting,
Oh, yeah, so
Yeah.
this one is already,
right,
this is this.
that'll be that, yeah. That I need to put the original issue date.
Gotcha.
Sorry, yeah, I shouldn't have put that in yellow. I noticed that as I was printing them out.
Oh,
The color prism needs more colors.
well.
All right, so the second item on the agenda is 2022 wage budget. We have the police, fire, and service departments here. Police department, we had one gentleman retire this year that the chief's looking to replace, and we budgeted for, but haven't hired, a person that is being supported by the safety service fund.
Yes.
Increase that replaced the fire levy and kind of expanded to safety/service fund. So Chief, I don't know if you want to tell us where you're at with,
I was just over at the station, we're gonna hire one police officer, a female. She believes, her first day will be 10/10, Sunday. And then the next one was hoping for some laterals. John tells me we were at 0 and 0. Although, maybe possibly, he says there might be a application out in the
They figure out how to do it the right way.
Yeah, maybe. So we're, I've got 6 dispatchers on my civil service list and one only wants part-time. We're looking for maybe laterals there, so pickings are slim in the police and dispatch area, so.
you want to say what you're doing from now until the end of the year with the dispatch? We've hired some
Yeah.
third-party contractors, some stuff.
Yeah, we're down 2 dispatchers. So we've got with the mayor, and the union agreed to allow us to bring in contractual dispatchers. They're trained dispatchers in other departments. They all have the TAC system, so they know our system pretty well. They're all up and running. We have 10 of them that work at their agency full-time, and they work upwards of 12 hours here in a 2-week period. So we're getting a little bit of help with them. It's taken a lot of stress off my dispatchers, who are getting a ton of overtime as the mayor heard their plea. So they were getting burned out, and it was just the start. So the contractual dispatchers are not, we've got the money there because I've lost 2. And
So you're hoping to replace those 2 as well?
yeah, I'm hoping to replace those 2 sooner than later, but it's not looking good right now, so.
Okay.
You give a civil service test per dispatch, correct?
Yes,
And you have no active list right now?
I have an active list. I have 6 people on it, 6 whole people, and one of them just wants part-time. She thought that was the test it takes for part-time work, so we're down to 5, and a couple of them are just definite no. And we need to dig a little deeper for the few that are remaining, but we were hoping to get some laterals that the Civil Service Commission agreed to, and our civil service role will allow for it. So we're hoping to get something there. We got a couple days left, so. I had a meeting with one today, but she's not a civil service where she's at, so there's a lot of variables going on with trying to get quality dispatchers in. It's the heart of the safety forces. Brian's folks and my folks don't do anything until that dispatcher answers the phone and dispatches. So it's a tough position. I don't want anything to do with it.
Make you or break you.
Yeah. And my girls do a hell of a job. So
For budgetary, we're all set for them.
Yes.
Whatever we find, we're all good.
Yeah,
So
we're good.
just a
Right.
matter of finding the right people.
Right, because the 2 that left are, the
That
money's
money's
still in the
there.
budget, it
Yeah.
just hasn't been spent.
yeah.
And if we make any changes budgetarily, you guys are gonna be the first to know. Obviously, we have to flow through you, so we're not gonna do anything that's gonna impact the budget without you guys knowing.
And I'm currently working on the last amendment that I hope we would need for 1014. And there might be a few categories I need to move some money around, but overall wage-wise for the city, we're not needing any additional wages.
Your hire that's coming under, that's being supported by the Safety Service Fund, this will be an actual addition and not a replacement?
We told the voters that we were gonna do this.
What,
Okay.
two years
And
ago?
we have delayed it over and over, and then with the pandemic hitting, and
Right.
now we're getting to the point where it's time.
Right.
We said we were gonna do it, we're gonna do it. It's just a matter of
It was-
getting someone that
Yeah,
can.
we had no candidates, and,
But it's not new body count.
It is one.
it is one. The one I'm hiring
Yeah.
this coming, well, actually a week, is to replace Glenn Nickel.
All right.
Everybody remembers Glenn. And then the next one I'll hire will be an actual new candidate, not a replacement.
Okay.
And we've been holding off on that.
It's been in the
for-
budget, so.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
yeah, I gleaned that.
We
It's
just haven't spent it.
That's nice to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of Glenn Nickel, what is our school resource officer situation? You're it? You're the guy?
It-
All right. Is that gonna the continuing plan? Or are you hoping
No.
the new officer will place?
We've been talking about this, and probably not a lot of things I can talk about publicly, but we're having trouble finding someone. And until we find someone, he's filling that void because we're not gonna let that lapse. But obviously, that's not a place for the chief to be every day, and we recognize that. But until we fill that void with the appropriate person, and you can imagine with kids and personalities and high school and Ledgeview, we want to make sure we have the right person in that role.
Absolutely, yeah.
And there's been, we reached out to our folks, and there wasn't any interest, and we don't believe that we should force someone to go into a role that they're not comfortable with.
Sure.
Yeah, I've had dialogue with several people that have since backed out, so it's at least 3. It's not something like the mayor said, you don't want to force somebody in there, because that will have the opposite effect, so.
Absolutely. Good call.
We're working on it.
Okay. That's something we also did promise the voters with that levy, was to make sure that we kept that position. And I know it's not a money issue that they're not there, it's just a personnel issue at this point.
All right, any other questions for police department related? Fire department, we kind of went over this at the last council meeting. I just wanted to restate it here. No additional bodies. 3 new captain positions supported by the increase in the new fire contracts with Sagamore and Northfield Center Township. Anything else you want to add, Chief?
No, we're waiting to see if we are awarded a SAFER grant, which is federal grant that they pay 100% for 3 years. We went into it thinking we had a good shot. We're down to the last round is tomorrow, but we still haven't got the Dear John letter, which every year prior we've gotten very early. So we're still, remember, boat maybe.
Is that equipment or
Staff.
Staff, okay.
They'll staff 1 whole person for a year?
3.
3?
For 3 years. Wow.
I like.
Okay, now I got a question in relationship to that because of previous grants back in the day. Once you accept that grant, after the 3 years up, do you have to match that, keep them on board for at least another 3 years? 1 year after that? Okay. There's always something attached to that. It's, you know.
Well, and while you have them, you're not allowed to reduce that. But with the pandemic and stuff, I don't want to say they softened it, but people have filed hardships and been able to. So, and a lot of the staff SAFER grant money now are going to places that are going to lay off people that were appointed through the grant because you still don't have enough.
Thank you.
When do you think you would find out? But
Went to the federal government.
yeah. Okay.
Be the second one to know. How's that?
All right.
From you then the mayor, then how's that, John?
Okay.
If we don't get it, we don't have a staff issue though, right?
We're still short. I mean, we're running 7 guys a lot of days, sometimes 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get by.
Did you say the minimum was 6?
Minimum 7.
The minimum 7.
Yeah, it essentially boils down to 2 guys in each of the 3 stations and shift commander.
Any other questions? All right, service department. We've had a couple people leave that Leon's looking to replace. So nobody new there.
How many are we talking?
2.
Full-time?
Well, yes, there are 2 full-time.
Have you had application, has the job posting gone up and everything? Have you had
It will be
applications?
going up.
Oh, it's not gone up yet? Okay.
A little bigger. You might not need your glasses.
Oh, I'll use my glasses.
I like that. So we'll move on to the 2022 portion of the 5-year plan. We continue to meet on the future years as we go through the year and populate it as we do that, but it's pretty much populated because for the police department anyways, the police patrol cars would probably fall into 2026 when we would need to buy new ones, if we can get any next year.
Yeah, we were advised that the Tahoes were probably not going to be available, and the Dodges may be going in the same direction.
Like, supply chain is
Yeah.
crazy worldwide.
Right.
But we have them scheduled for next year. Hopefully, we're gonna buy what we can. And if not, we'll buy the rest in 2023, hopefully. That's the plan, right, Chief?
Does it help to put the order in, knowing that the supply, oh, you can't.
I think the state says you can't, they're not even offering 2022 Tahoes
From
and
what Christian said, you can't bid until December 31st or something like that when the state bid comes out.
Okay,
Because John was talking about, well, let's order them now, but
Yeah.
you
Right.
can't.
because I imagine you probably don't have to pay until they deliver.
great.
So,
How did Oakwood get their hands on two?
Like an awful lot somewhere. that
Yeah,
was-
somebody had some, and when Christian was looking, he said, someplace down in Grove City or something had 26 or something. He called, and they're like, they should not be on there, they are not there. It's the same thing, Vinny, when we got one last year, that when we got the Tahoe off of, place in Aurora.
Well,
Is that Valley? No, not Aurora. But on 82 in Aurora, they had like 15 over there, so we grabbed one of those.
I think that's a Ganley now, it used to be Serpentine.
Yeah, exactly, that's
oh,
what,
Ganley,
yeah. They had a bunch of there, and by the time we picked them up, half of those were already gone.
So
So,
the only reason I know that is because, I still have contact with OPD. Mark says that he was, switching over to Tahoes. And then the next thing I know, within a couple of weeks, they were sitting in Chris Cordino's lot
Yes.
for the graphics.
Yeah,
This
you can
is the
find them.
expected life of these
Can't find
equipment. So this is.
we're going with, I
for
think,
both of the
4
steps.
Tahoes and
But they're
6
leased to that purple. Yeah, it's leased.
Chargers.
Leases is
Yeah,
purple.
okay.
But
Chargers are Durango.
So,
it's a Dodge product.
if you look,
They're not putting the 8-liter all-wheel drive into the Chargers anymore, so that's what we
Yeah.
talked about, the Durangos.
Right.
And the space in there is obviously a little bit better, so with all the equipment that the officers have on, the Durango's gonna work out better. The Tahoes are generally for the OIC.
Right.
if you look back to the second, the back side of the debt is the leases, and you'll see the second line down, police department falls off in 2021. It's supposed to come back on in 2022, in the first lease payment, but for whatever we can obtain next year.
Now, if we can't fulfill that, John, if the chief can only, say, get half of that, he can only get 5.
Then we move it to, we buy as many as we can in 2022 and the
Does
rest
he,
in
does
20.
he lose the,
No, I'll
does
move
he
it to
lose that
20.
funding?
No, I'll move it to 2023.
Okay.
It's not grant funding, it's just a budget,
Right,
Okay.
yeah, it's just a budget amount. We did add 3 shields to the budget. Those are, what do you call them? Mob shields or?
Riot.
Riot
Right.
shields, yeah.
They're
Right.
not the heavy ballistic ones that are more a riot type shield.
The kind of the clear, heavy plastic type, whatever. Okay. And then one is in the package for the vehicle, dollar amount there. So 4 in total.
The mobile data terminals, were we supposed to get those this year? Or have they always been planned for 2022, or did we get some?
They're,
I remember some,
I thought we replaced all of those.
A few years ago.
yeah, this will end up being in 2024 to replace what we bought a couple years ago.
Okay, so it's the saving up
Yeah.
for the, gotcha.
Gotcha, okay.
Those were replaced a few years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we're figuring those are gonna end up, with technology, it only lasts about 5 years.
so you're gonna save up
Yeah.
over 3 years and then. be
Same
able to
thing with
pay
the dash
cash
cams,
income.
yeah. Kind of timing with the MDTs. Radars, this is the 3rd year for the radars in 2022, so we'll be buying 11 units in 2022. And then,
Possibly.
well, if they're available.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't get the cars.
Right.
We're not gonna pull the old radars out and put the new ones in because it won't be cost effective. So we'll
Right,
push
we would
those.
we'll encumber the money
Yeah.
and then buy them
Yeah, we'll push
when the
them
cars
with
come in.
Yeah.
Down below, those funds are funded for the most part by drug-related or law enforcement or, if we're involved in a federal case. So we just kind of, put a dollar amount there in hopes that we do. I don't know if you have anything on the burner there, Chief, that you're anticipating money for, but that's why we have these down here. Any other questions on police capital? Okay.
You got voice detector in there, Chief. Is that in place of like a lie detector?
That's a question, yeah.
Where's that?
Under drug
offense.
Fund 216.
Yeah, Fund 216.
Just
Is it like a stress voice analyzer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fire.
Did we have to put anything in here for the new clock cameras?
No.
No, it's on a different page,
Oh.
but it is in our budget. You'll see that in the overall.
Thank you.
I can't compare. Oh, for once. Oh, on camera. You done? Okay.
Going to the city property.
Yeah.
Fire
You should be
department.
paying attention on that.
I heard bushes, I didn't hear broken something. So for the fire department, we will be in our second year of setting money aside to replace a 2000, yikes, Ford Excursion.
Got a diesel,
Okay,
run forever.
all right. Kind of like you.
It's getting tired though, I don't let them take it to Columbus anymore.
First year of the something we added when we sat down, the chief and I, the bay floor covering is original.
They never, when the building was built, it was something that was missed in the plans, so
Okay.
before we moved in, we spent like $400 and we
Paint.
just did it ourselves. And the plan was to redo the bay floors, that was 1997.
Okay.
And we've never, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think we ever asked. The city didn't have the money,
Yeah.
it works. We're better financially and it's something that does need to be done.
So that'd be a 3-year planned capital item. Turnout gear is normal, 6 sets every year. Miscellaneous capital needs, no dollar value change there. Compressor, Chief, for this year, I know your guys went to,
We're as close.
okay, dollar-wise, are we close?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Rescue squad replaces a 2002 unit. It'll be a 5-year loan, lease to buy, beginning in 2022. And the chief recently checked and the price is still pretty good that we have listed here.
And service is very excited to get the old unit. They're already looking at their chops. And you may see that before the end of the year. I hope you see it before the end of the year because of the supply chain issues.
I was just gonna ask.
They're already pushing them to 12 to 14 months out.
Wow.
So,
So has this been on order already?
no,
Oh, okay.
that will come to you guys.
Okay. Oh, when you said by the end of the year, you don't mean 2021?
I mean, they'll come to you guys because you guys have to pass
Right.
an ordinance to approve the purchase.
And you were talking about maybe a prepayment discount,
Correct.
or upfront discount,
Right.
which we would finance through the lease to buy, but we'd get a discount in doing so on the price. Fire engine for next, in 2 years, 2023, will be a 10-year loan. Rescue squad, we have it on there because it'll be the next one that we need, but it'll be 2027 that we do that. So that's, then we'll be on a set, what is that, every 5-year schedule? Yeah. And then COTS, second year of setting aside $10,000 in the planned capital program. And I'll have a updated summary for you guys in December for the planned capital as stated in the legislation.
How much is it cost?
$20,000 a piece.
A piece, jeez.
It's medical equipment.
How long do they last?
They say 7 years.
Okay.
We have one that's 16 years.
So we
I
settle
mean,
on
how can a manufacturer put it, I mean,
Yeah.
consider Cleveland EMS or
Right.
Reminderville.
usage, yeah.
You know, it's how you maintain them and stuff like that,
That's when you
so.
need to plan for how long they expect them to last and not try to double. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
If
one
they
of the
last
things,
7 years, then we know, okay, so we buy them in 2024, 7 years later, we better have them.
well, the other thing I wanted to do too, and it's expensive, it's like $1,000 a year per cot, but they have a maintenance agreement on them. They'll come out, they'll PM them. What I like about that is that's not, hey, we had Jeff PM them, if something bad happens. And they're not like they used to be, they're complicated. I mean, they got hydraulic pumps and the new generation's coming out at the end of the year. As far as, once again, technology, LED lighting. So when you're at night wheeling a cot, it's lighting up the ground,
Yeah.
you know, which helps reduce injuries.
Mhm.
Being made by Zuckerberg.
Yeah, well, they're also limiting because one of the problems you have is the cots will go high, the loaded, well, guys will tend to take them that high.
Yeah.
You get a 300 pounder, they're top heavy. Now the cot with technology will let it go so high until you get to loading.
And then,
What's the maximum weight?
7.
really?
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, that's good to know. I
Wow.
can plan my dinner tonight.
Okay, I can eat. That's right.
That's once they're on a cot, we still have to get that 700-pound person.
Right, yeah.
Well, hope we get that
And they're
grant.
never
We get that
downstairs.
extra. We get that extra EMS
Yeah, but
from
they're
that
never
grant.
downstairs, you know?
I had kind of off the wall question related to this. Would it be possible? How expensive is it to get the rescue squads that we give to service, have them wrapped or painted? It's always disconcerting to see the ambulance especially when they were doing work at the rec center. Like there was an ambulance at the rec center every day. It was creepy.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
You know what else is creepy? Talked to, I think it was Jason Check, I'm not even sure if Leanne knows the story. We brought in a mutual aid company from Macedonia on a fire, and the mutual aid company pulled up behind our service ambulance, quote unquote, ready to, hey, where's the fire?
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, dude, they were like, it's somewhere up there, they went past us.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is, we remove our name from everything.
Yeah, I know it doesn't say Macedonia, but
Right, but it's still an
Totally
ambulance.
repainted.
yeah, I mean, can we paint it orange or have it wrapped or?
We could.
Do we
Everything
take
costs
the
money.
numbers?
I know, that's what I was just wondering if any of you guys know how much wrapping costs.
They're still red, they're not amber.
Well, just put amber on it.
Yeah,
It makes
Now
it,
it's
more than I
cost
think.
more because
it makes it look like a
the
real,
spot they're gonna get are still
Golden
halogens, so
Corral.
you can replace the lenses.
because the ambulance were
Is it-
always
is that Building corral?
So you gotta replace it.
They were always there for real.
You gotta change the guts.
Right.
Now, you could probably wrap it for $5-6 grand. I'm totally guessing.
There's
That
a,
much?
Get
there's a,
a
there's
nice
an outfit
picture,
in
get
Twitter
like
that
this,
does
you
it.
know, like parks, you know, get a nice
Easier.
picture of the city or
All
something.
right.
That would be
Maybe.
good.
Real shy.
Can we get the high school to paint them?
Anymore?
Oh, there you go,
Still
get
one
the
on
high school to
Denison,
paint
not on
them.
Get the high
Denison,
school to
Pearl.
paint them like
Yeah,
they did the
I'll use
mural.
that.
Nick knows some people, we can get the high school.
Better get a
Yeah.
screw set, you could leave the windows
John,
down,
you remember
paint
when-
the inside for free.
Denny Moore used to paint city vehicles at those
Yeah.
garage.
Get the
He
kids to
doesn't do
do it.
that anymore.
Get the mural.
Jim Lawton had him painting somebody's rollers.
They could have a nice psychedelic ambulance as the service truck.
All right. Anything else for,
You have one? Yeah.
right, for fire?
There's two of these.
No, one for the chief. Keep them awake back
You're
there.
passing that.
Yep.
Are the missing pages coming next week or tonight? John, the missing pages.
Well, there's the
Next,
Parks and Rec.
next week.
next week, because there's page 4, page 6,
Yeah,
page 8.
right, yeah. Keep it guessing on what page of it. So, service department,
There you go. This is planned.
so you'll see in 2021, the two vehicles we're looking to get by the end of the year, the lease to buy the,
That's what we're hoping for, is because they're gonna help with the snow and ice, so.
Right.
That's what we want, so.
the leasing, the winner of the lease that you guys voted on, I think, back in March, Key Government and Finance, keeps asking me, when are you guys gonna start the lease? I said, well, we're getting really close.
Are we gonna have supply chain issues with these?
So that's kind of what the hang up is right now, so they have all the parts, I think they're missing we were out there, and they told us we're missing a couple of parts off the hoist.
Okay.
They still anticipate they're only a month out, a month behind, so.
Okay, so we should have them for snowfall.
That's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
We found them again this week, next week.
2022, we're looking to, well, at the bottom, the bucket truck, we haven't picked that yet.
No, we haven't found them yet.
Haven't found that yet. And we added aero boards in this year's budget for traffic events, chief.
I'm sorry?
The aero boards were,
Yes, we identified a need between actually the police department, us, and service. For a rapid deployment, we had that fatal crash on Route 8, and we called service, it was during the day, during the week, and we asked them to close the both high-speed lanes northbound and southbound. Well, it took them over an hour to get there. When they got there, the reason was they were going to other jobs to buy cones and get this, and, you know, you're talking about a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit road where people drive 60, and the boards would be very, very beneficial. They're solar operated. Steve Zernak and Leon, I think that was right when you were getting here, right?
Yeah, we had a meeting up in.
Right. We all of us put our heads together and came up with, you know, John's folks will be out there at 3 in the morning, high rain or a storm comes through, trees are down, and you have a fire truck or a police car that's literally tied up and can't do anything because of safety of the roads. Well, we'd like to take one of the cruisers and one of the old cruisers, put a hitch on it, get a trailer, store it, it's ready to roll. One of his guys, one of my guys, can grab it, run out, put that stuff up. We identified other needs that Steve and Leon were talking about, the fold-up signs we see in other communities where there's high water. It occurs in the same places. All John's guys have to do is go, instead of circles.
I can run out there and do it.
Yeah, we came up with a lot of stuff and
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, why didn't we ever do this stuff?
So are they just aero boards, or are they the ones where we can put a message on them too?
just aero boards.
And was included in that price was like 200 lane delineator. I don't know
Yeah,
what it's
cones,
called.
delineators, and navigators.
And
Loopers.
Yeah, loopers, the vinyl signs, vinyl stop signs, the inventory is really low on that.
We kind of upgrade the whole safety.
Yeah,
Very cool.
Okay.
I hope we never have to use it.
So then for 2022, we're looking to replace 2 trucks, 3500s maybe. Leon, they're looking at.
Yeah, in so the Ford Explorer, I guess, was auctioned off a year ago or so. So that truck hasn't been replaced yet, so we're looking to replace that one. And then we're looking to replace another utility bed, like a 550 or 3500, Ram.
Okay. And then another single axle dump, we're gonna start setting money aside next year for a purchase in 2024. A tandem axle, gonna set aside money for a 2023 purchase. That's it. And then Leon and I'll, by the end of the year, look at more, get a real good feel for the inventory and set out future replacements.
Did we get insurance for this F-250 that was totaled by the hydrant crew?
I was just gonna ask, what's the story behind that?
Yeah, we did. We got a check the other day, about 7,800, something like that for it.
It wasn't very valuable.
Oh, but I mean, what happened?
Yeah, what happened?
It was a,
Probably,
An ill-advised left turn
Oh, okay, all right.
oncoming traffic.
there was a reason why they were in the older trucks.
That's why.
Got it.
Is everyone safe?
luckily, yeah, everybody was.
Yeah, one of the kids had a concussion. That was it. Fortunate.
So it's a good, safe vehicle for putting the kids out in,
Yes, well.
except for the fate of the vehicle.
I saw him pulling out of the parking lot one time, and one of them didn't have their seatbelt on. And that's,
You sound like a cop
never
after?
did that again.
Going back to some of the stuff you have listed in here, John, for the service department, I noticed the chipper and 2 leaf vacs, tow behind leaf vacs. Are we going to, Leon, are we going to get back into having a chipper service eventually, or is that part of your plan in the 5-year scheme of things, or?
I know we're gonna have to replace our 2 leaf vacs. We want to do a chipper is we put it on there, and it's something that we need to discuss more with the mayor, and see if we want to do the program again. But we know we are gonna have to replace some of our leaf vacs.
Gotcha. It was just a question because it's there.
Yeah. We just don't want to forget about them if we can.
No, I understand. There's nothing else with it. It's just there, and there's nothing in any of the years that you have columned out. And
So what's the status
Coming up,
currently
no
of
surprises.
our leaf vacs?
They're ready to go.
How many do we have, and they're all ready to go?
They are ready to go. I think we're waiting on a couple of tubes to come in, but hoses, but they're all ready to go.
We have 4,
I think there's 4.
and we deploy 3 at a time?
There's 5.
There's 5?
It depends on the employees we have. I'm sorry, I'm gonna step on you, but this is new to you.
Yeah.
And they, as we talked about before, they break constantly.
Yeah.
And they are just, it's a necessary evil, but they break constantly. A lot of times it's caused by things that people put in the leaf pile.
Yep. Shit.
That's why we spend a lot of time PMing them, getting them ready for the season, and then we get in the season and
You get 1 week into it and they're all trash. But we, typically, the last couple of years, I remember we've not deployed them all at the same time, so we have backups for when one
yeah,
breaks.
it just depends on how many people we have on the crews and what they're
Yeah,
working.
but go by sections of the town.
But if you had enough crews, you'd probably run them all, so you can get more leaves picked up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Before
Then you
the
avoid
snow
the,
comes and we can't get to the leaves.
Well, I think last year, we did, I want to say 6 passes, which was,
It was
we
busy.
generally tell people 2.
Right, it was busy last year.
So they really busted some hump to get it done. That was a lot.
So, if that's it for the service, in looking to the next meeting, we'll have Jason here from the Family Rights Center. We're looking to invite the engineer, Joe Gelati. Thank you. So we can talk about the street and the road budget and our public grounds budget as well.
Are we gonna talk about the IT budget, or is he pretty much just set, he has his
I mean,
amount? Does he have planned
I'll bring
capital?
yeah, he's got planned capital, but not a lot on there.
Okay.
We do have our technology improvements that we've talked about that we're looking to upgrade the software. With Leon here now, I don't know if he has different ideas, but we've started to talk to him about the software for service and building and engineering department.
All right.
But that's on the 5-year plan already. The overall RETA collections are pretty good. I hate to say they'll come in higher than next year, or this last year, but they're trending that way.
Water M&E collections are very good.
Water M&E collections are very good, very simple.
Yeah, perfect.
Do you anticipate an increase in revenue because of more people working from home and eventually paying us instead of where they used to work?
The state hasn't changed that law yet.
I thought the exemption expired with the emergency.
Well,
Yeah.
but I don't know how many people, well, we would probably benefit from that because there aren't many offices here.
Right.
There's a lot of conversations in the mayor's association about that. They're trying to do things so that cities don't get destroyed by things
Right.
like that.
Like a
because-
Solon would get hurt by that.
For an example, I have a friend that lives in town that works for the clinic, and she's now home forever. I have a friend told me yesterday, I works for UH, that she's home forever. They're never going back. Matter of fact, the big one in Independence, they're all out of it. I mean, there was 3,500 employees.
Across from City Hall, yeah.
But if
Well, they don't want to,
Progressive is doing a lot at home too, Progressive, my
so
friend.
they don't want to destroy where those people are working, so I don't know, at some
Right.
point, it's gotta go where they're working.
But the exemption that allowed all that money to continue going to the city that they originally worked in expired with the governor's emergency mandate. It should have.
Not yet.
I thought it did.
They had to- they
There's a
had-
lot of
they had to
conversations going on.
change
They're
the
still talking about
legislation.
I'll have to go look at that. I thought it expired.
Yeah.
I don't
But
think
it's
it
not-
does.
Unless you know something I don't,
If it was official, it'd be a big news story.
I agree.
Yeah.
yeah, because cities are gonna start screaming. They're gonna lose their rear ends.
I think cities like us would
Would
see a
benefit, but
big increase.
Yeah.
cities like Cleveland and Toledo and
Oh, Cleveland was screaming that
Cincinnati.
they were talking about that the first time around, where they were just,
Independence, Seoul,
Beechwood.
Oh, yeah.
Beechwood.